sanctuaries. Okay, so let's begin. Of course, I'm going to maintain my format and skim through the material here in this outline. And when you go back and do your own studies, you can isolate the areas that I have selected for you to concentrate on. Okay? So the first section deals with the forests of the world, and we see that almost 60% of the land is covered with forest. These forests provide all sorts of things that the resources that the wildlife as well as humans need. So we can see that there really is more value than just resources. Forests also provide photosynthesis and give us our oxygen that we breathe, and they also have a scenic intrinsic value for us. Here are just some of the types of forests in the world. More about old growth forests and different types of forests. Tropical rainforests are different than coniferous forests. There's all sorts of forests: rainforest, coniferous forest, deciduous forest. They're just in Florida we have our oak forests, oak hammocks, and we see lots of big oak trees with Spanish moss hanging down and this kind of thing. But there are several types of forest in the world. This section talks about what products are available in forests and how forests are, with more people and more needs, there is a more destructive attitude towards our natural forests. And some countries that have many, many forests, these countries are the ones that they don't have any other type of export, so they feel they can harvest the wood from their forest and make money. And who are we as Americans, who are we to say you can't do that? Well, we have to come to an agreement worldwide to, as we have learned from our history, that wiping out an entire forest is not a good thing for anyone. So we have to encourage countries to save their forests and save their masses of land that is undeveloped and virgin land, because these lands are rich with things and different types of species and plants that we have not even begun to discover. And we may be able to use some of these things to treat illnesses, and it's an ongoing process. This is what's happened over the last 30 some years now. From 75, we see that the forest is intact. This is either a road here or it is a water. I can't really tell. I think it's a road. But we see here where the loggers have been systematically moving along these I think they are the roadways, and they are just systematically clear cutting and taking out the trees. From 89 to 2001, it looks like they got a lot better, and the destruction it's horrific, because not only are they taking out the forest, but they're taking out all of the other plant and animal species that need those trees to survive. So here's just information about deforestation. And look at this beautiful tree going to come down at the hand of the chainsaw. The invention of the chainsaw marked a rapid increase in forest deforestation. But we are doing some things to protect the forests, and this section will review some of those things. Not, like I said, not only are coniferous forests and tropical rainforest, all types of forests are at risk. Even in the United States, this is what we do. Clear cutting is the worst. You can see, they come in, they cut every single thing, and if there's a rainstorm, then all of this mudslides, and it's just total erosion, and you're really not going to get any. It just goes right down to the rocks, and you don't have any soil, you don't have any, and not only is it bad for the trees, it's bad for everything else. Think of all the wildlife that lived here at one time. Now there's nothing. There's nowhere for them to go. They have these little patches. Well, that's not enough to sustain populations of wildlife. So this is horrible. We shouldn't even be doing this anymore in America. We know this is horrible. And yet, here it is. It's all politics. Logging. Logging is horrific. There are different ways to do different types of logging. Road building, it's just road building into these forests. It's just horrible. Fire management, well, we all know that we throughout history, lightning has caused fires, and fire has been allowed to clear out the underbrush, especially in Florida. We should be used to wildfire, and yet people say, I don't want fire around my house, blah, blah, blah. Well, if you don't allow the fire to clear out the underbrush, then you are going to have huge, major destructive fires that will burn everything, even the old growth trees that have evolved to withstand fire. If we don't allow fire to occur on a reasonable rotational basis, then the undergrowth gets too thick and the fires get too hot and everything burns. Everything. So it can be horrible. It can be really, really bad. So this is wonderful. Ecosystem management. We have to look at more than just one habitat. We have to save the whole ecosystem, because migratory routes of some species and just resource partitioning, we need more land to provide more species area for their lives. We're learning more and more, and this section talks about how to properly manage ecosystems. Not only are the forests in trouble, but our grasslands are in trouble. Overgrazing is a big part of it. Putting up fences all around the grasslands. Wildlife have a terrible time maneuvering through these fences. They're not used to fences. They, ranchers want to keep their cattle in a specific area. Well, the wildlife can't handle fences, and there has to be a happy medium where the farmer and the rancher can work with the environmental conservation department, and they can arrange some sort of um, agreement and work together to help save these grasslands. Rotational grazing, that's something that can be used, and these fences can be moved, and that's a possibility. This is just another display of what other countries are doing. Our parks are in peril. We love them to death. We're trying to save. We can see that we're saving more and more parks and areas, but more and more um, these areas are being used haphazardly. And even if we do have an area for ATV use, these people go out and make their own trails. They need to stay on the trails that have been made for this purpose, so that the wildlife that live in the dirt and in the gravel and make their homes in little delicate plants that aren't destroyed by these machines. Our marine ecosystems, look how beautiful that is. We used to have this right off the coast of Florida here. We used to have a beautiful marine ecosystem where we had this beautiful reef, and I used to snorkel out there when I was a kid. No longer. The runoff and the pollution has totally destroyed the reef. You have to go way out to over hundreds of feet deep to find the coral reefs, and they're not as beautiful as this anymore. It's a shame. We really need to work on our runoff and help to save our reefs. We can all work together to save and conserve our natural areas. Ecotourism is one of the big things that is helping to save some of these underdeveloped countries. They're seeing how important their wildlife and their wild areas are to people who don't have them, and people will pay to go see all these animals and these unique environments. Special types of preserves are set up, and special corridors are used to connect. The corridor connects the wilderness area with another wilderness area, so wildlife can move from area to area. They're not just stuck in one little spot. More natural is what they're trying. This is an experiment. Organisms that are used to dense forestation, they won't venture into anything that's lit up like this. So these animals here are isolated from all of these animals here. Same species, but they are stuck, and they're stuck in here. They won't venture out. They won't even venture from here to here to here. They stay here. There's too much light. There's no ground cover to protect them, so they will stay here. And of course, if they stay here, they have limited resources. So environmental conservation is a very important thing, and I do hope you all are thinking about what is the world going to be like when the younger generation grows up. Are we going to save it, or are we just going to keep depleting our forests? We've got to do something. So, till next time, have a good day.